Right now, some new information involving one of the most heartbreaking aspects of the Asiana plane crash last July. A 16-year-old girl who actually survived the initial crash at San Francisco International Airport was lying in the tarmac. Apparently, firefighters had moved her there when she was hit by one of the fire trucks rushing to that chaotic scene. And now, prosecutors are deciding whether to file charges against the firefighter who was at the wheel for running over and killing the young girl. Let's talk about the prospects here with Dan Schorr, a former prosecutor. Esther Panich is a criminal defense attorney. I can't think of a more heartbreaking situation. I mean, this woman who was behind the wheel of that truck, sworn to try and protect lives, save lives. She's a firefighter and accidentally runs over one of these accident victims in all of the chaos. Why in the world, Dan, would they be thinking of charging her?
It is a tragic case. You have a 16-year-old girl who survives a plane crash and then is killed when a fire truck runs over her. And we know this firefighter is a veteran, obviously had the intent to help people. That's why she was there. When I was in the Homicide Investigations Bureau of the DA's office, we would investigate any incident where someone died and it involved either police officers, firefighters, emergency service workers, and so there's an independent investigation by the DA's office to make sure that there either were criminal violations or there were not. And that's what's probably happening here. You want this independent review from the DA's office. It doesn't mean there's a heightened belief that there was a crime, but it's important to have this review by the DA's office.
Esther, we have some video. It's not in this particular shot. We'll get to it here one of these times, I'm sure. But we've got some video of the fire trucks rolling to that scene. I mean, it obviously doesn't happen that often that you have a major airliner crash and catch fire at a big airport. So the fire trucks are scrambling. It's my understanding that here's one sample, for instance. It's my understanding that the particular truck she was driving, you are supposed to have a spotter, somebody who's kind of looking out for you besides the driver behind the wheel. But in emergency situations, that spotter is not required. So how could she be in any way culpable for what happened here?
I completely agree with you, John. She should not be culpable for what happened here. It is a tragedy. It should not be compounded and make it two tragedies. This would send a chilling effect to all first responders because the next time, God forbid, there's an accident like this, no firefighter is going to get behind that truck and start going without a spotter if they know that they're going to be subject to criminal sanctions as a result of it. And there cannot be any doubt that this was nothing more than a horrific accident. There doesn't appear to be any gross negligence. And if you're going to attribute any criminal liability or responsibility to the firefighter who drove, then you also may need to start looking at the department who allowed her to go, or whoever instituted the rules saying that you didn't need a spotter in an emergency. So this is going to have far-ranging effects if you charge the firefighter who was driving. I think there's nothing that can be gained by charging this person. You're just adding a tragedy to another tragedy.
We have a picture of the little girl who was killed, Mengwan Yi. She's 16 years old from a fairly affluent area of China, her parents' only child, as is the case under China's one-child policy for so many families in China. Obviously, her parents are heartbroken, but there's also evidence, Dan, that she may have even been covered in firefighting foam, and that may have obscured her from the vision of the driver who ran her over.
Right. There's two parts of this investigation. One is to see whether there were any criminal charges, and as Esther alluded to, there's no evidence that we know of showing gross negligence, but the DA's office does have to review it. The other part of it is to review the policies, procedures, and practices. What happened on the scene? Did people act properly? Should they do things in a different manner next time this happens, if unfortunately a tragedy like this does happen in that jurisdiction? So that's what the DA's office is going to be looking at here.
Yeah, well, I know that the civil suits have also been filed, and more are coming in this case, and that firefighter probably faces that kind of responsibility too, or that kind of potential problem ahead. It's just a very, very sad case. Dan Schorr, Esther Panich, thank you both.
Thank you.